Hello students. Yesterday we have seen the reflection process by using the Huygens principle, and in the case of Huygens principle, as first of all you know the concept of wavefront means all the points that are in the same phase, their locus is known as wavefront, and that is the primary wavefront that is emerging from the source, and again every point on that primary wavefront will act as the new sources, new fresh sources, and they will act like the original source, means they will again send the disturbances in forward direction. And if we will draw again the locus of all the points that are in same phase in the locus of them, then that is known as secondary wavefront, and the new sources that is formed at the primary wavefront is called wavelets. So this is the concept of Huygens that we are using here to prove first law of reflection and refraction. So in the previous class we have seen law of reflection by using the Huygens principle. Today let's see law of refraction by using Huygens principle. So for the refraction we know we need such kind of surfaces that is not polished, means we need an interface that can divide two media. So suppose we have two media, this is media 1 and this one is media 2. Again you know how to write down the properties of the media. So first property of media is permeability, permittivity and refractive index. Similarly we can write here mu2, epsilon 2 and n2. And suppose velocity of light in media 1 is v1, in media 2 is v2. That we know already from the concept of wave. Whenever the wavelength will change, there will be change in the velocity of light. So that according to that concept you can write this v1 by v1 and v2. Now if light will fall on this interface, so this will be the angle of incidence for this one case, or this will be the angle of incidence. And now we can draw for this incident wave, we can draw wave front here, means we can take the point that will be in same phase in all these waves. So suppose this is the point, and according to this one this point and this point, these all three points are in same phase. So the locus of these points will be the wave front. So this is the wave front, that is incident wave front. So this is incident wave front. And for this incident wavefront, the angle that is made by it with this one, then or this angle will be known as angle of incidence, because incident wavefront is making angle with the horizontal axis. Now as surface is not polished, then these waves will be transmitted into the another media. So when they are transmitted in another media, then due to their change in velocity, they will transmit at some different angle than the angle of incidence. So this is the refracted ray, refracted waves that we are obtaining. Again we can draw the wave front that will or the points on which that will be in same phase. So suppose in the second media, this point and this point, all these points are in the same phase. So this, the locus of these three points will be called refracted wavefront. So this is our incident wavefront, this is refracted wavefront. First of all you have to learn how to construct it for the Huygens principle, the reflection and refraction process. Then after this one, when you have constructed incident and refracted wavefront, then we can proceed for our proof of law of refraction. So law of refraction, in which first law is normal incident ray and refracted ray all are in same plane. So that you can see from here already. Second one case is Snell's law. According to that one, sin I by sin R, that is equal to v1 upon v2. Means velocity of light in, or velocity of wave in first media to the velocity of wave in second media. And as this angle, that is the angle made by the refracted wavefront with this one, and that is called angle of refraction. So in this one we will suppose this is our A, this is B point, This is now C point, this is D point, point on this wave front. Then again we will start by this point. Suppose this is now our G point. So we will see the time taken by this wave from C to E. So if you will write the time taken by wave to travel the distance from C to E. So first as this wave is traveling these two distances C to E in two media, so we will divide it and we will write. So from C to C, CZ distance, it is traveling in first media, and first media it has velocity v1. So it will be given by time is equal to distance upon velocity. Again in second media, it has the distance ZE, and its velocity in the second media is v2. So we can write here this one v2. Now clear? Now we have to find out what is the CZ and what is the value of ZE. Now as this is the time taken by the wave that is coming from incident wave front to the refracted wave front from C to E. So here as the time I have written, just now let's calculate CZ and GE from the triangle that is made by ACC and BGE. This triangle we will use. And one more thing, as this is the right coming from the infinite and we have taken the parallel rays, so that incident wave front, this is sitting as a normal, so this is at the 90 degree here angle that will make through it, means this point is the perpendicular to this one, or you can say CZ is perpendicular in this whole of the AC. So here as this is perpendicular, then this should be the hypotenuse in this case. So if you will take the triangle in triangle ACC, in this triangle we can write down sine of I. This sine of I will be equal to perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So in this case, what is the perpendicular? So this angle is perpendicular. You can understand it very well if you will make your figure again in this way. And for this one way, as this is now our angle, this is C, and if this is our I, then this I is attached to A. You can write down A here, you can write down now G here. So whenever you are confused, you can make your diagrams in this simple way that you can understand easily. So if you will just make in this way, now you can write down easily what is the value of sine I. So sine I by the trigonometry can be written as CZ upon CA. So let's write down here sine I is equal to CZ upon AC, not CA, AZ. So AZ is our hypotenuse here. So from here you can calculate the value of CZ. So this value of CZ will become AZ sine of I. In the same manner, we can take the triangle, this one BGE, and in this BGE, as this is the refracted wave front, again it will just make here 90 degree angle with this one. So as this is now perpendicular, then here if you will write down again in the same format this triangle, then sine R can be written as perpendicular upon the hypotenuse one. So here perpendicular will be this one EZ, and hypotenuse is this one. This is perpendicular, and it's in front of the side of perpendicular is called the hypotenuse. So this is our BC. So in the place of sine R, we can write in the triangle we have used, that is BCE. So in this triangle we can write sine R is equal to now our CE upon BC. So from here you can calculate the value of now CE, that will be equal to BC sine of R. So let's now put these values here in this equation that we have written for the time. So for first one we can write in place of CZ, this is AZ sine of I, and in the place of GE, in this place we can write BC sine of R from here. So this is we have replaced now these terms. On why we have done these things. First let's convert BZ in terms of AZ. So as this whole distance is AB, so we can write here this distance BZ is equal to AB minus of AZ. So let's write down this one. So this will be AZ sine of I upon V1 plus this will be minus of AC sine of I upon B2. So we can take common as AC from both of the here terms. So if we will just take AC as common, so we will get sine of I upon V1 from here, and minus of sine of R should be there. So minus of sine R of V2 upon that can be in this way. Now we can write, and plus this term we will get, that is AB upon B2 sine of R from here. So this equation finally we have got for the time taken by the wave to come from incident wave front to refracted wave front. Now we will come to the concept of Huygens again. According to Huygens concept, all the points that are reaching at any wave front, or the wave front that we have drawn, on that every point will lie in the same phase, means every point will be simultaneous at that point, they will reach at a single time. So if you will see here, whenever this distance AG will change, then according to change in AG, our time will be changed. But the time taken from A to F or time taken from D to B, as that is independent of Z point, so that will remain same, but this one will change according to change in AC. If our point is here, then that will change the value of time taken. If our point is here, means we can see that with the change of AZ here, time is changing, and we are still saying that the waves that are reaching here at E, that will be simultaneously be in the phase with point B and F. That is impossible for the construction of wavefront, as our primary concept of Huygens principle is all the points should be in same phase, means all the rays should come here at the same time. So here, as time is different for all these waves, so we have to make it constant. We have to make this one wave free to this AZ that is varying. So to make it free, we have to keep this whole factor as equal to 0. So if you will put this one equal to 0, then AB, as this one is constant already, then whole of the factor will be constant. This will be free from the G point. There will be no variation. Then time taken by all the points, that will be now same. So to make it consistent with the Huygens principle, what we have to do? We have to take this whole term as equal to 0. So if you will equate now these terms to make the Huygens principle consistent, here this term is equal to now 0. So here, as a product of two terms are 0, then it means either both of the quantities are equal to 0 or one of the quantity is 0. So here AC, this value is the sum of the distance from this point to this point. So that cannot be equal to 0, because if that will be equal to 0, that will become this one weight. So here it means AC cannot be equate to 0. So we can just, if this term, this is not equal to 0, then only possibility is here, this bracket term should be equal to 0. Now if you will solve this bracket term, then finally you will get sine of I upon V1, that is equal to sine of R upon V2 from here, this one. And after this one, if you will write it in the simplified term like sine R, if you will take this side, so this will be sine I by sine R, and V1 you can take this side. So this will be equal to V1 by V2. This is the famous Snell's law of refraction that we have proved by using the Huygens principle. Very easily we have used the wavefront picture of the Huygens principle, and we have shown that we can easily verify the law of refraction by using this one. Means you can understand here wave concept is also very consistent, that is also satisfying, that is explaining the law of refraction, reflection, the phenomena that is possessing by the light. So up to now, as by geometrical optics, two phenomena we have known, that was reflection and refraction, and Huygens successfully explained that also by using wave concept rather than the ray concept or the geometrical optics concept. means the concept was the formation of images that we have just leave here now, and we have seen this kind of concept, the additional concept of wavefront. So we have just first of all explained the two known concept that was known to us in geometrical optics. So as up to now, why this concepts explanation is important, because whenever you are starting with the new concept, then first you have to establish a equation, or you have to prove that that new concept is also consistent with the old your old concept, that is also explaining, that is also satisfying the old equations of nature that we know. So here it is successfully explaining and successfully satisfying all these things. So later we will move forward for more behavior of light, more phenomena possessing by the light. So after this one, the next topic that we are going to study, that is very important, and that is the interference of light beam. So interference word, you are familiar with that, as in the case of waves in previous class. We have discussed in class 11 also in the chapter wave some of the phenomena that wave is possessing light, the Doppler effect in sound we have seen there, interference of waves we have seen, and if you can remind, you have seen all these examples or phenomena in one topic, that was superposition of waves. So in the case of superposition of waves, interference we have seen the formation of beats there, we have seen the application of superposition in musical instrument, and also for the stationary waves or standing waves that is obtained in musical instrument, and on which our instruments are based on, we have all seen the applications there. So glimpse of Doppler effects and interference I have told you there, so because we need it here, and Doppler effect you actually don't have to study, but in the same way like in sound you are obtaining Doppler effect, means you are seeing the change in frequency of sound whenever the two sounds have relative motion. So the relative motion is changing the frequency or the wavelength of the sound wave. And also, as we have proved now, light has the wave nature, so it means the Doppler effect can be understood in light also. So we have understood the Doppler effect with the help of wave picture of light, and that is very important for us, because later Hubble explained a new theory based on that. So that was the theory of the expansion of universe. Our universe is continuously expanding. So that expansion is explained by using the Doppler shifting and Doppler effect that is obtained in light. So that was very important, very interesting concept that we have understood by using the wave picture. But here we will move only for the two phenomena in this way, because in this COVID era we are just going with the reduced syllabus, but at least in a glimpse I am telling you all the topics here, so that you can be at least aware of them. So here, as next we will move forward for the interference. So in the case of interference, before starting it, again I just want to remind you the superposition principle, as this is the application of that one. So let's see what is first superposition principle of light, or superposition of light waves. Just a second, students. So now our next topic is superposition of light waves. So if we have number of light waves that are traveling, and that light waves superpose on each other, means they will mix with each other, then that time their resultant intensity that is varying that time. So it means that intensity will be varied, means the intensity of light that we are observing, that will change. And this experiment you can do by yourself at your own home. Just take two torch and just take the light of two in such a way they can interfere with each other, they can mix with each other, and you can see that the intensity of light will increase at the point of superposition there. So it means that whenever the two superposed beam is obtained, and in that beam we are obtaining the intensity of light that is increasing, and here additional concept we will also see. The intensity of light can be decreased also, can be zero also. So for that one condition, here two new concept we will just study, that is coherency and incoherency. So let's first of all take understand what is superposition principle. So if a light wave that is traveling, means if number of light waves you have, suppose for example we have two light waves that are traveling, and one light wave's displacement for time that is y1, so its displacement can be write down by y1, and for the second one it can be write down by the y2. Then we can write by using the superposition principle that the resultant of these two should be equal to algebraic sum of these two displacements. Why I am saying algebraic sum? Because here the two light waves can travel in different directions. Whenever they are traveling in same direction, then that time it will be added, or if they are traveling in different direction, then that time it will be subtracted. So here you have to also take into consideration its direction of propagation. So by using that one, you can just write down the final resulting displacement that will be obtained only for one wave after the superposition. Means whenever two waves will be superposed, after superposition they will move forward as a one wave. So that one wave's displacement can be calculated by using the superposition principle. And the superposition of light, I have told you already, that is the mixing of two or more light waves, and after that we are obtaining one light wave that can be of greater intensity or lower intensity depending on some situations. So next one, before starting any other concept here in this section, we will see first of all two important concepts while understanding interference. So that interesting concept is the coherency and incoherency of light waves. So first let's see what is the meaning of the word coherency and incoherency. That is very important words while we are understanding the properties of any light or interference refraction we are obtaining, or later as we have developed laser lights and we are using in a lot of fields. For that one also this word is very important, coherent word. So let's see what is the meaning of this word. So coherency and incoherency first. So what is first of all incoherency or coherency? Exactly, this is related to the phase. So whenever we have two or more waves that are traveling in space, then if that two waves are always in the same phase. So what is the phase? Always I am telling you, don't only consider it by the angle. Phase is exactly a quantity that is telling you about the position of the object, where at any time your object is. Means you can just locate your object for any time in the space. That is the property of phase that is telling to you. So if you will see the phase difference between two waves, means what is their direction of propagation, what is the timing. If there is changing in the location as well as timing, then both can change the phase of the particle. Suppose you are just standing here and your friend started to just move, and after some time he will be out of your eyes, you cannot see him. So it means that he is out of your face now. So that is the way in which we cannot locate him. But whenever you both are moving with each other, you both are going simultaneously with each other, then that time you can easily understand where he is going, because you all are both are actually constant with each other. So this is the concept of phase, means how can you locate any particle, and this is the way phase is telling you. So whenever you will just to calculate the phase difference between two waves or more waves, if that phase difference means delta phi, this phase difference is either 0 or constant with time, constant with time and also with space. Both words are very important. Just try to understand these words. These are really very important while understanding the phase or location of the body. Suppose with time the phases are 0 or constant, but with space they are changing, then that time also there is some complication to understand the coherency, but this kind of coherency we are obtaining at least. So first of all, this is the definition of coherency of light wave or light simple wave, you can also say. Whenever the phase between two or more waves, that is 0 or that is constant, then that time two waves are known as coherent waves. So with phase or with time, if they are maintaining their phase, they are maintaining their location, that is called in same phase. Means you and your friend both are going on a bicycle and on walk you are going, then that time if simultaneously you are going with each other in this way, parallel way, then that time we can say that you are coherent particles. So this is the coherent particle that is going with the same time and with same space. So it can be also possible that coherency can be obtained with respect to time. Suppose in space you are coherent and with time you are not coherent, means both are stationary. Like here I am and you are stationary. Okay, for half an hour I am here, you are here, and we are just talking, we are just learning something. So we are stationary here. So for this one case we are just maintain our position as a constant, but as well as time is now passing. So this time, as we are not moving with the space, so this is called, with time we are coherent, that is called temporal coherence. And whenever your location is changing, then that time it is also called the spatial coherence. So if I just want to say, if your position or your phase difference, if you have calculated, that is constant with respect to only time, not the space, then that time that is called temporal coherence. And if it is constant with respect to space, not with the time, then that is called spatial coherence. Means for the short time even you have traveled a long time, and for the long time coherency was maintained, but it was maintained only for the short seconds. So we cannot say your device was or you was as a coherent with respect to time, but we can say we was coherent with respect to space. But suppose we are not moving very far, we are just moving in our home, but we are coherent for the long time, long duration, but for the short distance. So we cannot say we are coherent with the space, but we are coherent with the time. So that time, I think these examples are very easy. You can relate with yourself. That's very easy to understand, as you can do or you can perform at your homes already with the help of anyone that is present in your home. So here in this way, coherency, I think that can be understood. This is very important concept while understanding superposition of the waves. So first, wave can be of two types, whether there can be the phase difference of the wave can change, or that can be 0. That can be constant or that can be 0. For this case, we will call that waves that are. And when this situation is not followed, means the secondary condition, whenever delta phi that is changing, or in another word I can say that is varying, then that time this is known as incoherent waves. Means if two waves that are not also coherent with time as well as for space, then that cannot be coherent. Means if you have started your destiny from here, someone has started destiny for somewhere at the random speed, random timing, you are just stationary or walking, so such kind of situation is called incoherency in the waves. So I think the coherency and incoherency is better now clear. So if this one is, I think that is now clear, then in next class students we will study about the coherent and incoherent addition of light first. What will be if we are adding two coherent light with each other, and what will be if we are adding two incoherent light with each other, means how can the intensity of light, final light or resultant light is changing for these two different kind of waves. Means one wave is incoherent, second wave is coherent, that has these kind of properties, separate properties. Then what kind of resultant behavior they are showing, and where we can use it in our daily life, where we are using, what are the applications that we are using in our life, and why it is very important to understand the phase difference that is constant or varying, why it's important, and how we have developed our study or developed the science in terms of these words coherency and incoherency. So let's discuss that in next class. Students, I think the brief about the coherency, incoherency, that is now clear, and superposition is clear. So let's discuss the rest of the things in next class. For today, let's end our class here, guys.